welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
Alrighty, everybody. The show you all been waiting for. We're going to talk a lot about Tom Cruise. Very exciting. For me.
A show we've all been waiting for.
We've all been waiting for Dave.
It's me. It's Tom Cruise. It's probably one of those guys who runs the Scientology stuff.
We're going to talk a little bit about Jennifer Connelly, too, I think.
I suspect so.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about Top Gun Maverick. There will be spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah,
so,
there'll be spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, there has to,
Here's the biggest spoiler. It's basically a remake of Top Gun. There you go.
Okay.
If you've seen Top Gun, you've seen this movie.
That and a third of the people in the country, most of them male, have seen this film already.
Yeah. So we're not spoiling it.
More on that later. On that later. But and I will stop I'll pull this podcast over if there's any bad talk about Tom Cruise. So
I'll turn this podcast around and take it back home.
Exactly. So let's
and put it to bed without any supper.
I don't want to hear anything negative. But and some other stuff. We'll do some other stuff. Let's go random. Barry, what do you got?
I've got two things. I'll go with one first, and then we can circle back if nobody else says the other one. But I just heard this, and I don't know when it got announced, but J.J. Abrams is executive producing a Speed Racer TV series for Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
The guy, I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but the guys that wrote Snowpiercer and Westworld are going to be writing it. And they're using, apparently, the original manga as the source material. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense. They're not going with the Wachowski brothers movie as the source
material.
So
this is live action?
I never saw that movie.
This is live action?
It's live action. Yeah, it's going to be live action.
Where has that ever worked? Using manga as a source material?
Maybe the storyline.
No, I'm saying it. It is so divisive.
The Last Airbender. What else has been manga?
And that's it.
Is that
that is it?
Well, I don't know. Look
and
at
even
how
that
badly that goes to the show movie.
But I'm saying, like, Cowboy Bebop did terrible last year.
I don't know any of this.
Ghost in the Shell was a disaster.
Hugely panned.
But you know what?
That is a risky bet.
Speed Racer I realize Speed Racer is a manga thing, but when we were growing up watching it, I never knew that it wasn't an American kid with his monkey driving a car. So it could work as long as they don't try to make it too much like the manga. You know
There's
what I mean?
two things that will make it work: J and J.
This is true.
That doesn't always work. So, anyways, but
for the most part, he's been better. He's been more hit than miss.
That's for sure. So the Wachowskis did the one that's the movie? They did. I never saw it.
Which is a beautiful looking movie, but it's all over the place. But it looks spectacular. I mean, it's one of those movies you watch it with the sound off. It's like a visual, masterpiece, but not a good movie.
I went to college with a guy who, like, it was my roommate in an apartment, and then a couple years later he had gone out to California, and then we met up, and he had a meeting with Joel Silver, this is in the 80s or 90s, to pitch Speed Racer as a movie, and his treatment was great, and I think they liked it and went out and bought it, and then just it sat on a shelf forever. It's one of those things that is in development forever.
I remember I saw it only because Matthew Fox was the lead in it, and he was in Lost at the time, or it was right around that time, and it's not a good movie, but it visually it's
he wasn't the
stunning.
lead. He was Racer X.
He was Racer X. Well, yeah, but he was in it.
And was it Christina Ricci in it or something?
You're remembering more about it than I am.
I was going to say that movie barely registers for me whatsoever.
All I know, Emile Hirsch, Matthew Fox's Racer X. I just remember the cartoon in 50 years.
Yeah, that was their follow up to Matrix, I think.
Oof, really? Huh.
Anyway. It was right around that time, anyway.
We'll see. Todd, what do you got?
So there are two Star Wars fan films that just came out. Barry, have you seen either of these things? They're both Stormtrooper centric.
I think I've read,
and they both.
I saw them on Geek Tyler.
They both focus on basically the same principle. One of them is E11 standard issues, and basically it's like an unboxing video for the Stormtrooper blaster. And the guy it's very well done. That one's a little drawn out. But it's funny because it's just like an unboxing video, and the Stormtrooper's all excited about it, and he goes through, and it culminates going to the range, and they've got like the 1960s police targets, except they're drawn as rebels, and it misses everything.
Oh, that's funny.
It is so good. This thing, and again, it's shot just like an unboxing video, so he's like going through the steps, but in the process, halfway through the video cuts out and an ad comes on, an embedded ad comes on that's a Empire recruiting video, which gets 3/4 of the way through the video and then stops and goes back to his video, which is exactly the way videos go on YouTube. The other one, which I think is better, though quite a bit gorier.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Is Stormtroopers, but they're accurate. In this one, the premise of this one is Darth Vader pushes the Emperor to get an eye care program as part of the Stormtrooper benefits. Everybody gets laser corrective surgery, and let's just say the trilogy's over quickly. They re-edit scenes and everybody dies.
I saw the picture from the Tantive hallway, and there's just blood everywhere.
Nobody misses, and it's like, and every one of those iconic scenes where it's just there's laser fire everywhere. It's like one shot, and then all the bodies go down. It's actually really funny, but it's particularly funny that both of these things kind of came out the same week.
When you would think with the Stormtrooper helmets being what they are, you could easily make a case for the fact that they've got in those lenses, there's like, they're something that helps them target.
Vision's impaired. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is they've got this in the unboxing one. They've got this is a new targeting thing, and they go out there and this is going to be great, and it cannot. They got a stock video of a mouse droid, and they cannot get it to zoom to focus on the mouse droid. And again, they're both worth watching. The gory one's much better, but I got another one to it. Barry, what do you got?
I haven't gone.
Dave can go.
I'm sorry, Dave.
That's
Dave,
okay.
What do you got?
We texted about this today, but Heritage. I was looking through the Heritage auctions, and they said they have an entertainment auction. But it all, again, I'm not disparaging anyone who collects anything. From telephone pole insulators to spoons. If you have the collecting gene, it's fine.
I have both of those, but go on.
Yeah, but they now videotapes. If for anyone younger than us, videotape is what happened before DVDs and Blu-rays. They are now collectable. So there is this
I don't even believe that they are, but I know they are, but it's shocking to me that they are.
So I was texting with the guys, and so they had this list of, so I guess the whole idea is that they're still wrapped in their shrink wrap, beta and VHS. Again, anyone not old enough, you don't remember beta because it only lasted for a little while. But these things are not only collectible, but they're being graded, and there's an auction. And in this particular auction, there is a particularly rare Back to the Future VHS that is currently up to $20,000 bid.
A couple years back, when I first saw video games being graded, I was like, "What's this?" But now I get that they're original video game cartridges in their package, not opened and all that. I get that there's a market for that and a huge market for it, but I would have never guessed VHS, because VHS are like the scourge of garage sales. Like, you can't even give them away. Nobody wants them, but this is a different thing, right? These are uncirculated.
It's like,
I guarantee there's people right now sitting with this $20,000 supposed video, although it's not owned by Tom Wilson, but that's a whole nother stupid thing. There was
one of the greatest cinematic villains of all time.
Yeah. There's a Raiders one that wasn't. a Raiders beta tape that was going for as of right now, with the auction's not over, for $1,200.
I mean, would an 8-track tape of something that was super popular be graded and valuable?
Me, again, this is the equivalent of somebody who collects audio cassettes for the album artwork. You know, it's like the value in this is not in the box, which was not printed all that well, which was,
Are sealed albums collectible and graded?
No.
Yes, if they are not just like any album by any band, they've got to be a certain album by a certain band and a certain version.
Saying.
But
like,
I know a little bit. I know a little bit about like Beatles albums and some of the rare, like the White Album. The original 10,000 pressings of the White Album were actually numbered on the cover.
Yeah. Okay,
and
that makes sense.
So those are worth something, but.
Apparently these are. It seemed like there were a lot of, at least from what I'm gathering, running changes to videotapes. They don't have the some have the original MGM seal and it's more about, it's almost like the G.I. Joe stuff or the Star Wars
baseball cards.
But the power of the Force. It's sort of like the rare. Oh, this was a short saber and a long tray.
And again,
there's a bunch of
cards and stamps and any of this stuff.
But I just want to say this out loud: $20,000 for a sealed VHS tape.
Right.
I don't care how rare it is.
Yeah.
That's freaking insane to me.
Well,
and I'm a collector.
I never
disparage.
I never disparage what anyone else collects, but this is effing stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a line that you can cross that there's just no coming back from. This seems to be it.
The funny thing is, so I'm going through the auction. They're not all that. So then there's the ones that aren't. There's some that are going for $100. I mean, whatever. Bad News Bears, the modern version, is a $1 tape at a flea market, yet it's going for $100. I mean, I just made that. I'm not saying Bad News Bears, but I couldn't tell you what I.
It's a modern.
You even said Star Trek: The Motion Picture was in there, right, for $100 or something like that.
I think it was whatever I text.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a tape. I threw those tapes away. I have
thrown that tape away many times. Would continue to throw that away.
Interesting.
In all versions.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't. It's bizarre. But
we're collectors. We are collectors to our core, and we collect a lot of stupid things, and we spend money on things that nobody else would think was valuable.
Okay, but this goes back.
Doesn't make sense to me.
I remember our other friend Brian, telling us one time that you need to steer clear of collectibles. Okay. Where something is basically derivative of a collectible, and therefore, it's designed to be collectible. And this is just like an extreme edge thing of it's like, well,
at least they're not new like Beanie Babies that were invented and they were new.
But I'm saying, this is just like, it's just like trying to create value for something that was never meant to be valuable. This is a consumable product. There's a finite number of times you can view a video.
Well, so are comic books.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Comic books are consumable.
but and like just looking at Star Wars as a movie, like I have bought Star Wars probably 8-9 times on different formats, but I never, and I do have multiple versions still in my quote unquote collection, but like I wouldn't think that I had to keep the original. If a new version came out and I got the new version and it was better than the old version, I wouldn't have been like, I need to keep that version.
Oh, I have all my Star Wars versions, but they've all been
I have
opened.
multiple versions only if they had content on them that wasn't on the new version. So, like, they put out a new version,
I have all my
and the original making of isn't on there.
With the exception of the beta, which Dave mentioned today. I have every Raiders.
It's worth a lot of money.
Everything was released on except beta, because I've always been thinking I'd make like a shadow box or something sometime with that.
But it's interesting when they were going through the grading, and I don't know if that's in when I texted you. It's like, so it's the cover graded, the seal has a grade, and then like there's a bunch of subgrades for like this corner, that corner. I mean, these things are beat up, but I would like a list of like the top 20 most valuable VHS, because you see this stuff in the thing with this right now. you go to a flea market, there's some flea markets sitting there with unopened VHS, and people don't know what they have.
Oh, yeah, no.
We're at the ground floor of this.
I feel like that antique mall you and I walked through a couple months or so back, there was probably 1,000 videotapes in there.
Would you ever look twice at a videotape?
No.
Okay, if they ever start grading the single episode Star Trek tapes, Next Generation tapes, I think it might be 2 episodes on a tape. Anyways,
Yes, there were.
I know where to score a bunch of those. So there's
Yeah,
an
eBay, 'cause they're all trying to sell them.
There's an antiques place near me where every time I go by and they have them for like $15 a piece. I'm like, really?
$15? They weren't $15 when
I
they
know
came
this is
out.
what well, somebody thinks they're collectible, and that's why they're all still there.
So what do you think is a bigger joke? Collectibly graded VHS tapes or collector plates? Both of which are
and the
worthless
collector
in my
plate
mind.
is, yeah, again, that's the oh god, yeah.
Collector plates, at least they're horrible. I wouldn't want either one, but
There was a good riff on collector plates in Below Decks.
there's so many people
Lower
that
Decks,
want
in
those
Lower Decks.
collector plates.
So
When my son was in Cub Scouts, the den mothers, she lived with her father and her I guess they lived multi-generational family in a house. The kitchen was walled, like the whole wall was done in John Wayne collector plates. And every time I was there, I just laughed a little bit on the inside.
John Wayne, Elvis, and then Birds are the ones that I see the most. Like when I go through the antique things, it's like John Wayne ones, tons of those. Elvis,
Are they all Franklin Mint?
and then Birds.
Well, and there's like 100 variations of Star Trek collector
Oh yeah,
plates. too.
I see those every once in a while, but it's just
I
like
see them on the Star Trek collectors Facebook page all the time. People are trying to get rid of them.
Those and the videotapes. Maybe there's a videotape you have that's...
Maybe.
But no Star Trek fan is going to have not opened them probably, so I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll see. Anyway, more on that.
All right, I'll do my other one real quick. So this is another Apple Plus show that I had not heard about that maybe you guys have, but apparently they're making a Godzilla and the Titans. You know, that series of movies that didn't do all that well? Rather than keep the movie series going, they're moving it to TV. And
Wait, the new movie series?
yeah, that Legendary Pictures was doing.
Yeah.
So the guy that did WandaVision is going to helm it, Matt Shackman. He's going to direct the first 2 episodes. It's also live action, and it follows those movies. It's what happens after those movies, but I don't know if it's going to be more focused on humans or more focused on the Titans and the.
So
The
Titans
monsters.
meaning the Mothra,
Mothra and Ghidra and all
Ghidra
those,
and
yeah. Yep.
Rodan and all
Yep.
that. That's expensive stuff to do. I mean,
I know, but to me, those movies weren't that good to begin with.
yeah, I thought they were redoing the King Kong one. They were doing a sequel to the Godzilla versus King Kong.
Maybe. This article I read didn't mention anything about anything theatrical. It was just focused on that they're doing this for Apple.
Interesting. I'm surprised Apple would do it. But, Todd, do you have something else?
yeah. So you guys may have seen this or may have not. Tomy has a model of the Enterprise that is based on, or is offering, and it's a Kickstarter sort of thing. It's around $600. It's 34 inches long. It's based on the Smithsonian model, and supposedly it's
Tomy? Like
yes, that's what it's.
Tomy?
Yes.
Didn't they used to make
Yep.
somebody?
Yep.
Something?
And so it's supposed to ship in summer of 2023. It looks really, really good. It's going up for pre-order tomorrow.
Is it a kit?
It's a crowd-funded thing. Again, 34 inches long. This is what's really bizarre. You can actually, I first found this in Gizmodo, and I found it a couple other places. The saucer section actually separates, and I don't know whether that's just to make it practical in terms of how you can display it, whatever, because it's
Probably
two pieces.
shipping.
I bet you it's to get around the licensing because they don't have the model license.
Well, anyways, there's 70 LEDs in this. You can actually look into the shuttle bay. There's a bunch of
For only $600?
really cool.
That's a little dangerous.
There's a really cool thing. Check this thing out. I find this thing
I'm looking at it right now.
very cool.
I mean, those QMX ones, I don't think they did the original. Did they do the original
I think
Enterprise?
they did.
No,
Those were a fortune.
So the company that has the model license recently released a pre-built version
Right.
of the,
Yes.
the 24-inch model, and that was I think around $300 or $400.
People were very
It wasn't lit.
You and Brian kept me from pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah, and it didn't have lighting, and the weathering on
Too
it
much
was
weathering, and
Yeah.
from what I read, universally the nacelles didn't line up, and so.
It's 90% die cast and weighs 20 pounds.
34-inch is big.
It's big.
Wow. It's
I
only
don't like the
$600?
seam though. I'm looking at the seam.
That is the
of
Barry.
where
I was just going to go there. The only thing is in the
see that seam.
that seam there,
where the saucer separates. That seam is unsightly.
and I wonder whether that is just. I wonder whether it's partially separated there, or whether that's what the finished model is going to look like.
Or I also wonder if maybe it needed to be done that way so that it could be shipped and assembled.
Yeah, I gotta believe that the shipping in this in a 40-inch package versus like a 24-inch package is got to be.
But and that's not visible from most angles. But
I'd really like to see this.
$600 seems cheap for something that big and that
does.
heavy.
And that
It's
big, that heavy,
it's a Kickstarter.
and just very cool looking. So
Interesting. That is interesting.
it's phaser money, but
Yeah, I would love to see
some
one.
of us have phaser money.
I would love to see one before pulling the trigger to kickstart it.
That's the problem. You probably can't. I wonder if anyone.
But look at the nacelle, the lighting in the nacelles and stuff like that. And they say that they rotate in the inside.
Those lighting kits are out there for the 24-inch
Oh
model.
yeah, no. But what I'm saying is,
but
inside,
if you've got the
inside
skills,
the balls and the nacelles, it rotates so you get the same flickering effect.
No, that's what I mean. They make a lighting kit
yeah.
with those motors and everything, but I have avoided pulling the trigger on one of these big 24-inch model kits just because
This is
watched
mostly
people build
metal.
them. It's a dedicate. It takes a lot of dedication.
Oh boy, I wish he hadn't told us about that.
And again, it's this is Gary Keir, widely considered to be the ultimate authority in original series model. Worked on, collaborated with them on it, and
I wonder if Brian knows anything about this, because he knows these guys who were involved in that model.
We'll have to ask him next time we talk to him.
or 5 minutes after we record. But
I'm sending it right now.
It
because I may want to jump on that.
well, that's the thing. I get this kind of.
You have space for a 36-inch Enterprise, Dave?
I get this
I don't
spot in
have
the
space.
middle of my
What's the
room
difference?
that I could totally put this on a.
I do. I could put it make a coffee table in front of my chairs in this room.
An IKEA 4 cube.
I'm out of space
An
for
IKEA
much
4
smaller
cube is the
things than
perfect
this.
size for this. And then you got 4 cubbies for books underneath it, so it's super stable.
I wonder if it was at that convention this weekend.
Pre-orders go up tomorrow, by the way.
I know. That would have been a good. That Wonderfest would have been a good place to.
Yeah.
And that's not even. I mean, it's a year away. That's not even bad.
Well, it's a year away as of now.
No, but I'm
Things
saying
have a way of
compared to like a lot of Kickstarter things, so kind of things.
The fact that it's tied into the Smithsonian is interesting.
Yeah. More to come on that. We'll be talking about that one again.
Yeah. Again, it just popped up on my radar, and I was like,
Prestige Select.
I have one more phaser to sell, and this might go to that. So.
Well, I would sell one if I did pull the trigger. 250 details. This. When was planned to
This
open.
is riveting podcasting. by
I'm
the way.
sorry.
Yeah, we're reading the internet
real
while
life.
we're yeah.
That would be cool. Because I mean, that's something to have a big.
Oh,
giant...
I know. And Brian's got one that's this size, and it's awesome when you see the picture of it, and it's like, it's
Brian who?
Our Brian,
Brian
yeah.
Mix. He does.
He does, yeah. Yeah, it used to be in his living room or something, but because I've seen a picture of it. He sent me a
Which
picture when I
one?
was looking at buying the other one that they talked me down on.
I just can't believe it's die-cast. It's got to weigh a ton.
That's probably why they could get the license.
Yeah, and also I suspect it's everything below the pylons. It's like the dome probably is, part of the dome probably is, but I can't imagine the nacelles are. But I tell you, the weak thing on a lot of these things, like I said, the pylons just don't line up. And you built these, Barry. It's a tricky thing.
It's a pain in the ass.
And
you know who's not a pain in the ass? Fanboy Collectibles.
That's right. Talk to Troy
Thanks
today.
for getting us out of that, Dave.
Check them out. All kinds of stuff up for pre-order. Exo 6 Tuvok. Sorry, Brian Savage. I don't know if that's the one you're waiting for, but
he wanted more Voyager, so he's.
Oh,
good.
He does. So good for you. Clone Wars Darth Maul. These are Hot Toys Clone Wars Darth Maul. Hot Toys Dark Knight Rises. That's interesting that they're reissuing that, but that is a great Batman figure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's to go with the vehicles that are landing very soon.
There's a premium format Captain Marvel figure that looks amazing.
Captain Marvel and Zatanna premium format figures.
I'm totally on the fence on the Zatanna figure. I mean, on the statue. There's been like 5. It's one of my favorite DC characters. Been like 5. None of them have been quite right. And Troy, I talked to Troy today. We talked through what was wrong with each of them because he likes the character also. This one, the most recent one, she was like, the hat was covering her face. This is check this thing out.
Well, this one is amazing because it looks like she's floating.
Looks like she's floating, and the base is a mirror, and it's just like, this is
very cool.
This is, like I said, I'm fighting pulling the trigger on this, but I probably will. So
okay. Also, Hot Toys Dead Doctor Strange with a bunch of arms and stuff. That's a super detailed thing that looks
crazy
very
looking
awesome.
figure.
Yeah, all that stuff. Check them out. Check out the website. There's always new stuff there. I won't even go through the stuff this time, but there's plenty of anything you want, they're going to have. Fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out online. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Give them a call. Their phone number's on the thing. They'll talk to you. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Okay. No more jerking around now. So we're talking Tom Cruise, so everyone just get ready. Oh, we want to do that question too. Do we want to do it before this or after?
Yeah, we can
this?
do it after. We'll keep the suspense going.
So, the greatest movie of all time came out. No, okay.
So
it's so crazy.
What you want to do is the Colbert question. You want to do Top Gun Maverick, great film, greatest film of all time. Go ahead. Tell me.
I thought it was very good. I mean, what I'll say is, it's funny. I mean, I like Tom Cruise, as we all know, and I don't even love Top Gun. I think it's a music video. I mean,
yes. No
offense to Tony Scott, that was his thing. The graded, sunset filter on everything, but it's a music video. I mean, there's almost no story there. I do feel like this had all the cool things from Top Gun, but whether it's not the most, groundbreaking story, but there were stories and there were some nice little sub-stories. So I think there's a little more.
I know what I said at the top of the show, and I was half serious and half kidding. I've said it before, I'm not the hugest fan of Top Gun at all. I mean, this had more. I felt like it had more of a story to it.
I thought
it played off the nostalgia of the original and gave you all those nostalgic moments that you wanted, but it also had more of a story, I feel like, than the original one did.
I totally. That's exactly what I
had lunch today. My lunch table at work was me and 4 other male coworkers, all of whom saw the film last week, and we talked about this, and we agreed that the challenge to this film was, you kind of knew going in that it was going to be very much the same story, and how do you revisit that and make it make it worthwhile? And I think that was their challenge. I really do. I think that it had to play out in terms of acts pretty much the same kind of way. It follows the kind of typical Tom Cruise prototype where it's like, he's an arrogant jerk, but then like he gets taken down a peg and then he redeems himself, which is just the arc of most Tom Cruise films. But this thing was so amazing compared to the film that it preceded it. I mean, the aerial, the photography in this was amazing. I actually thought they did a good job with the characters.
I agree with that, because that's why I'm saying the subplot. I mean, everything in the first one. I mean, hey, let's put it in its. It was like 1986, 1987. That's what stuff was. It was all look and very little substance.
It was, but Top Gun took that to an extreme.
Yeah, it was. When you remember things that are like images from a music video. Iceman, singing at the bar, the need for speed. That's all just little snippets. This, I feel like, and we talk about this with a lot of TV shows or movies. They had a number of characters, and I thought they dug into them, fairly well. I mean, they had a good developing. I'm not saying this is freaking Blade Runner or anything, but
they did a good job. I mean, again, they're fighter pilots. They're all going to be very, very similar, except for Bob, and which was great. I mean, Bob had like goose painted all over him. It was like, boy, if somebody's going to die, it's going to be Bob. And but no, they caught the nostalgia thing. They made that work. They had a reasonable explanation for why Tom Cruise is still a captain at this point. Though, I mean, one of the places, and there are various places where it stretches credulity. The fact that he's still in a cockpit in his late 50s is pretty absurd. But it worked. I mean, anybody but Tom Cruise, it's not believable. I mean, you take any other actor that's 59 years old and put him in that role, it would just be like, this just looks silly. And he pulled it off. He did.
My biggest fear halfway through this movie was that we weren't going to get to see Tom Cruise run at top speed.
I feel like we actually did get it.
Let me just say something, okay? If a jet fighter goes down and you can run to where it went down, okay? You can run into the vicinity of where that person ejected, okay? The speed that these things move at, that person's dead. Okay.
But not if you run like Tom Cruise runs. He's superhuman at running.
He is. It's so funny because he didn't run in the first one, because I think that was before that was his thing.
That came later.
I was shocked. Again, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I was shocked that there was ground stuff, because they never like, there was a whole like third act, or not even third act, like epilogue.
But there was an epilogue
on the ground, and I also, to me in this, the stakes were high. I was at one point, I'm like, he may not make it. And that would sort of, I really thought that was going to happen.
Dave,
it felt like that's where they were going.
I was thinking about 3/4 of the way through this, something's going to happen. If he has to go on the mission, he's going to sacrifice himself to save Rooster.
Big time.
And
and it was good that they set that up, and it didn't happen. No one died, right?
No one died.
Except for Iceman, but
right. But so I was surprised he was actually in the movie. I thought it was going to be a picture on the wall, or they were going to reference him. I didn't actually think Val Kilmer was going to be in it.
I knew he was going to be in the movie.
I knew he was, and I was curious what it was going to be.
There was more of him than I imagined. That scene was a little more than I thought. I thought they did a really good job with that. I think it was very...
and anybody who doesn't know Val Kilmer's current situation, he can't speak. Like, as a human being, he can't speak. It's not his character in the movie, although they worked it into his character in the movie. And then they actually used computer AI to actually do the couple lines of dialogue, or the one line of dialogue that he had.
I heard something... So they filmed this thing 2 years ago. It's been waiting forever to come out.
Yep.
I thought his speaking or ability to speak got better in those 2 years, and is that not true? I'm not really following that whole situation.
I stopped following. I watched that documentary on him. Like, I feel like it was 2 years ago.
I haven't seen it.
Where they cover the whole thing, and he he uses like a voice box to talk. So I didn't think he could actually talk, but I had actually read
that's
that
worth
they
looking
used...
into, because I actually think there was some modifications done later because his ability to speak improved.
That's what I heard.
So they overdid.
Well, that would be great if that's true. I didn't investigate that, but I just remember the documentary I saw where he was using like a voice box to speak, and when he didn't, it was really hard to make it out. But anyway, my point being, I didn't even think that there was going to be as much of him in it as there was. Not that there's a ton, but it was a nice, it was great scenes, and even though he was doing his dialogue with a computer, like it was good dialogue. Like this movie was the dialogue in this movie was much better than I expected it to be, given the original movie. Which every line in that original movie is a cliche.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a cliche because we've seen it and people have used it so much, but
it felt like a cliche when it came out.
Yeah, it was hokey back then for sure.
I remember reading a review of that movie at the time that basically said that, this is just a continuation of his masturbating from Risky Business. That again, it was just this like jets, and it was just all this really pumped up thing. And it was and this is a different movie entirely. This is
yeah, it was of its time.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Dave, cover your ears for a second. But I feel like Tom Cruise lately has been playing Tom Cruise in movies, and I felt like he did some acting in this movie.
I don't know if that's true. Define that, and then I'm going to come and find you.
No, I just feel like Tom Cruise is become a character unto himself. Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise are very like much the same thing to me now. But this felt like he was.
I think that of Jack Nicholson for sure.
I don't think
that's
there is a. I think there was a period in his career where he was stretching and doing other types of characters, and I think he is in like his Cary Grant phase right now, or wherever there's a role for Tom Cruise, and he fits in that role, and you don't that works. But that's, I think, also what makes him as bankable as he is. I agree.
I don't think he's a characterization of himself.
No,
again,
I don't think
like
it's characterization. I'm saying there's certain parameters
Nicholson.
that he works within. Okay, but he's. This is not. I mean, again.
I guess what I'm saying, I didn't say caricature of himself, but I just feel like he plays the same character a lot, and it's the same inflections and the same. I mean, The Running is a good example. He runs fast in every movie.
That's what I'm saying. There are times
he delivers his dialogue the same way in every movie, but this felt like he was back to playing that character.
It's interesting. I wonder why he does that, because you look at a guy. I mean, not that he's. I mean, he did that Tropic Thunder role that was just really out there. He did that that music thing. What was that music?
Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages. But now he is sticking to I think
action hero.
You look at, he doesn't do a ton of movies. He does Mission Impossible. He did the Top Gun, and he's talking about doing a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. So those are all pretty similar,
and
but
they're very similar.
Maybe he just does what he likes.
But again, it also works. We talked a couple of weeks ago. I read an article where they referred to him as the last movie star.
I agree with that.
And I think it's true. And I think you build a movie around him as opposed to put him in a movie. And
so let me ask you a question. At your screening, did they play the intro that he filmed? Because when and to me that was also a sign of, hey, he made the studio hold this movie for 2 years because he wanted it to be seen by lots of people in a movie theater. And I was really happy to see that that they tacked that on the beginning of the movie.
That is the case, Barry, but it's also the case that there are people that would have watched this for the first time on a laptop, and this movie would not have worked. It's just, you need the scope, and you need the width, and you need the screen to fully appreciate this film, and I think in his case I would have fought for this too. This is a film that shouldn't be diminished by the medium that you're experiencing it on. And I think you would. It's
now let's talk for a minute about the lovely Jennifer Connelly, and I say that because I've been watching her for 3 seasons on that dopey train show. Where as much as I love Jennifer Connelly, she doesn't look like the lovely Jennifer Connelly on that show.
This is before all that. I think
lovely and age appropriate Jennifer Connelly,
which is nice. Yeah,
but she looked very good in this movie. Like, I was happy to see how amazing she looked, because she's a good actress and a beautiful woman. And on that train show, I guess maybe it's just the nature of the show. She doesn't look as amazing as she looked in this movie. And she's a great actress anyway. She was good.
She was good. And I'm surprised she did it. It seems like a smaller role, but
you're right. Age appropriate for Tom Cruise.
A 50-year-old love interest for a 50.
Kelly McGillis was. I never understood Kelly McGillis in the first one. So like, it could have been anybody, but why Kelly McGillis?
She was that her first movie and then Witness, or was Witness and then that movie? I think
it was that and then Witness. She was actually like 5 years older than him when she made that movie.
She was fine. I thought she was good.
I think she was fine. It was an odd kind of thing, but again, I think the movie did everything it needed to do.
And there were some surprises where I really, I'm like, wow, we're getting out of the planes and running around on the ground.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
I did not expect that either.
And the shirtless football game made sense in this movie, unlike the shirtless volleyball game, which makes no sense in the first movie.
That, again, a music video. And Tony Scott supposedly got in a lot of trouble for doing that for some reason.
Yeah.
Because it really has nothing to do with anything.
But I like that in this case, in this movie, they're like, what is, like, John Hamm's like, what the hell is all this? And they actually had a reason for it.
Wait, John Hamm is now like amassing this list of roles where he's sort of a dick, but an okay guy, but still sort of a dick. I think he's done that role like 6 times now, and it's I think he's in danger of being typecast.
Well, and Miles Teller with that mustache looked perfect as Goose's son.
Yeah,
I mean, I just thought he looked just like him.
I think you throw a cheesy mustache on anyone
that look like
Goose's son,
but
maybe.
And it's funny. I'm watching The Offer on Paramount Plus. He's the star. It's a very different character. So this was like, wow, and then you go back to what's the movie with the drum movie? Why am I drawing?
Oh yeah.
And I just watched it, which is great.
Yes.
He's a little kid in that, and now here he is in The Offer. Movie? He's like a full-grown man.
The one with the one where he plays the jazz
J.K.
drummer.
Simmons, Whiplash.
Yeah. Oh, Whiplash.
Have you not seen Whiplash?
I have not.
I've seen it. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, see it. It's great. He's great in it. He and they're both great in it. But he's a kid in that. I mean, and that doesn't seem like it's that long ago.
Yeah.
But and I do think they had, like I said, nice. So there's the main story of Maverick, and he's always messing up, and he gets another chance, and then there's sort of the subplot to that is he's got to save the world with this whole thing. Then there's him and the relationship, and they never really said it in the movie, but Jennifer Connelly plays the Admiral's daughter that he had gotten in trouble for hooking up with in the first movie. That's how long they've known each other.
Right. Her name was Penny also, right?
Yeah, that's the same girl.
Yeah.
Okay. Fly by over an Admiral's daughter.
She would have been, 16 at that point?
No, if she's like 50 and he's like 55 in this, he was 25 and she was 20.
Okay, so they're shaving a little off. Okay, so
I'm just and then whatever. Then you had the
so
it was nice that they had those.
I will also say they did a good job with the non-specific enemy
country, right?
Enemy,
okay,
yeah.
So this is some country just developing nuclear weapons, okay?
Where it's cold because they have snow on the ground.
As some cold region. They have fighters more advanced than ours, but at some point, apparently, we were selling them F-14s.
I'm wondering if it was Russia and they took that out based on the current situation.
I don't think so.
I think it's clever because unless you were really paying attention, because I'm like, did they say the country and I missed it? I didn't know.
No, they didn't. And it had this
I know they didn't.
Yeah.
Makes sense. In this day and age with God knows who's going to be our next enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and you need to sell this movie worldwide, and you don't want to
there's
alienate
already
any country.
there was already a flap over. I mean, this was, I guess, banned in China because they have the Taiwanese flag on the back of his jacket. When they have the alliance, they have alliance countries in the back of his jacket, and he has They digitally added the Taiwanese flag because it was not there in the first previews. Or they digitally removed it. There was a kind of random flag with a triangle.
I tend to believe that they removed it rather than added it.
Now the Taiwanese flag is there, and that cost them releases in China. So
it's still doing ridiculous.
Oh, it's still doing
money.
crazy money. They don't need. The other thing is, I think they made a calculated decision that a raw American military film is not going to be big in China anyways. So
they were saying this could be Tom Cruise's first $1 billion film with all the money he's made and with all the movies he's made. He hasn't had a $1 billion movie.
What is the biggest opening before this?
That's a good question.
It was War of the Worlds.
Was it? Oh, opening. Another great movie. Let's go through all his great movies.
All right, so if we're done talking about the movie, I'm going to go to the question that we were asked.
I'm not done talking.
I could talk about this movie all night.
Okay.
No.
Places where it's strained credulity. Okay. Now, the running to where the pilot went down, that was one thing. Okay. What do you think a P-51 Mustang costs?
A fully restored P-51 Mustang?
P-51 Mustang. Such as he had in that hangar with many other motorcycles, by the way.
I'm going to guess
it's millions.
$4 million. Okay.
I'll give you. I will defend Tom Cruise in that. That was probably his own P-51, which is besides the point. But if he was anyone else other than a Navy pilot, it was probably like, well, if you want to clean out that hangar and slap together that plane, you can keep it.
He probably restored it over
He's had it over
30
years.
Yeah.
I don't. 20 years doesn't matter. These things have been like there's.
But he got it in pieces, and they're like, "Take it. It's an old Navy hangar. Take it. Put it together. I don't care."
Okay, this is the one of the rarest, most desirable.
Todd, why you got to be a buzzkill, man?
Again,
the six
was this a
Air
Corsair?
Force nerds
I think differently
pissed
about
this.
Corsair or something like that, but this
it's a hangar. Oh, the Navy now owns that hangar. It used to be an Air Force hangar. You could live there, just clean out that shit.
And by the way, Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, you can probably figure that out yourself.
You could.
Okay.
Have you seen him run?
All it takes is a socket wrench. Didn't you see him? He just had a socket wrench.
Apparently so, yep. 12-cylinder engine.
An endless supply of white, clean white T-shirts. That's all he wears. I wish I could do that. Okay, what else you got?
No, I'm good.
Anything else?
That's it? Right. 2 things?
All right. So, longtime listener of the podcast, Darren Denzer, wrote the following to us. Hey, guys. In the shadow of what is bound to be an awesome Tom Cruise movie, Top Gun Maverick, being released, it's got me thinking, if Hot Toys were to ever do a Tom Cruise figure, of which movie would you like to see this figure come from? He gives me what he wants, but I'll save his until after we talk about it. So you get one Tom Cruise Hot Toys figure. What movie do you want it to be from?
That's an easy one. I got mine. Dave, what do you got?
I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say Edge of Tomorrow.
Absolutely.
In the mech suit.
In the mech suit.
In the mech suit?
Yeah.
It's a good choice, but that's not mine.
A good choice. I'm trying to think. What else?
In the mech suit, of course, without the helmet, because it's Tom Cruise.
I mean, him in the whole flight gear with the cool Maverick helmet could be awesome. Because the Ethan Hunt is just going to be Ethan Hunt, but with multiple masks he could put on. Now, I'd say Maverick with the helmet.
To me, it's Maverick with the full flight gear and helmet, but also with the change jacket. Of clothes with the leather jacket.
And the white t-shirt. And like the 3 of them. A dirty one, a sort of clean, and a very clean.
I think that, to me, is the most iconic. Because I'm with you, Todd. That was my initial thought, was that. But I kept coming back to an amazing, fully decked out fighter pilot outfit. Because we haven't seen... I mean, back from when we were collecting G.I. Joes, and then all these other brands like Dragon and Blue Box started making amazing fighter pilot sets, but we haven't seen anything like that in a long time.
They made a Maverick set that was not like licensed,
Right?
but,
Yes.
And
Yep.
Todd, we had a Tom Cruise head.
We had a Ethan Hunt head with the long from the
Is
first
that what
movie.
it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was long hair.
All right, so Darren's response was, he says, I'm going with Mission Impossible 3 or 4, although his armor from The Last Samurai and Top Gun flight gear would be
that's
pretty
a good
badass too.
There is
just
a
curious
pretty
what your
good.
picks
There's
are.
a pretty good knockoff of the Last Samurai figure that you can get on KG Hobby, or you could.
But with that whole red armor,
Yeah, it looks really
So-
good, and I mean it may have been like 6 months ago I saw it, but that's there.
Oblivion in the white leather suit could be cool too.
Yeah, I thought about Oblivion, and that rifle's cool, but I don't think it's an interesting enough uniform.
I have handled that outfit. I can't say where.
So I just want to say he ends his email to us.
Just don't put your foot in one of the boots. That's all I got to say.
He ends his email by saying thanks for listening, which I thought was pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
So-
Thank you, Darren. That was a
Darren. It was
good
a good
question.
Yeah, it was good.
That is
All right. So what do you want to do next?
good. Okay, so go see Top Gun Maverick. It's fun. It's a fun
Movie. I wanted to not like it. I really kind of wanted to be able to come away from it being the dissenting opinion, but it's impossible not to like it.
And
It's just fun.
I know it's been a few years, but it totally feels like, even though it is Tom Cruise, and I'm not, but it's like, okay, here is the Memorial Day weekend, the summer blockbuster is back, and that's nice. You know,
And it
we
was
haven't
fun because it was a
had
kind
that.
of a last minute thing for me. I turned to the family and I was like, "Who wants to go see Top Gun?" And I was shocked. 4 out of 5 of us were like, "Yeah, let's go." And we just bought tickets and went.
I saw it in the afternoon.
You and
same
I
day
went the
you
same
did.
afternoon. Yeah,
It was every seat was sold out.
Yeah, it was pretty full for us too. And it was on Memorial Day Monday in the middle of the day, and it was pretty full.
Yeah, totally. All right, let's go. So we're going to. Before the show, we were talking about what are we watching, how are we figuring out how to watch everything. There's so much freaking TV. So Todd was asking us questions, and we're not going to get into any details, but Todd, go ahead.
So I was saying, right now,
it
it's
up.
like I don't feel like I've ever been as far behind on TV shows as I am right now. There's so much stuff. We talked about this a month ago, coming at us all the same time. I was wondering what you guys are keeping up with, and what you, what's in your queue. I will say my just start out my 2 things. My absolute must watches are going to be the same as yours, probably. They're Kenobi and Strange New Worlds, both of which are amazing. But between The Boys and Stranger Things, and you tell me, guys, what do you get?
So and crazy that I'm actually kind of caught up, which is unusual for me. I mean, you guys are usually further ahead than I am. Definitely, Todd is usually further ahead than I am. But I have seen all of the first half of Stranger Things. I've seen 2 of the 3 episodes of The Boys.
Jesus.
But the one that I watched that I was kind of most excited about, obviously, I'm with you. Star Trek and Kenobi are the 2 top. Is the new episode, the first episode of the new season of The Orville came out, and it's fantastic. So I would put that pretty high up on your list. And then Dave reminded us just before we started recording that the new season of For All Mankind starts this week. So that's going to go probably higher than Orville on my list because
That'll be weekly, right?
That'll be weekly.
it should be weekly.
Dave,
yeah.
And
for the
Orville is
first
weekly.
time,
Yes.
I think ever, I am softening on my position of I want it all at once. I don't know what I would do if I had 6 shows drop all at once right now. I mean,
Yeah, you can't.
it's
yeah.
Well, and Stranger Things dropped, and I'm watching that with some of my kids, not all of them, but we've watched all 7 episodes over the course of like a 4-day period.
7? Jeez, I didn't know.
And none of them are shorter than like an hour and 10 minutes.
That's a toughie.
I blew through Ozark like that, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Episode
Ozark.
7 of Stranger Things, which is the finale of part 1 of the final season, was an hour and 38 minutes.
So, yeah, I'm sort of behind on stuff, but I have watching stuff that you guys aren't watching. So Ozark, yeah, I finished Ozark. I watched Bosch now on Freevee formerly IMDb. I just finished that, and it was actually very good. I'm watching The Offer on Paramount Plus, which I'm enjoying. So that's a weekly. This is the thing we were talking about. It's like, you watch, there's things you watch with other people. Like, the whole family watches Obi-Wan, and that's weekly, so that's good. Me and Mark watch Star Trek together, and that's weekly, so that's fine. Me and Pam are watching The Flight Attendant for what, it's fine. We're still not done with it. It's so hard to watch, and I told her this yesterday. I'm like, you're so hard to watch stuff with because I can't wait for you.
Yeah.
So that's why she's like, oh, I would have watched The Offer. I'm like, I'm 4 episodes in. Unless you catch up in the next 2 days, I'm moving on without you. I just can't do it.
Well, thankfully, I don't know, thankfully or not, Star Trek and something like The Orville, I just watch those myself. And I'm usually the first one up on the weekend, so I'll watch, like, Saturday or Sunday morning. I get a couple of hours to myself, and I'll watch shows then.
I went to like a week ago, I went to look for something on Netflix. I saw there was the second season of Russian Doll, which I had totally forgotten about, and I watched the whole season. It was like, I think I killed it in like 3 hours, and like 3.5 hours, whatever. And it was just like, boom. It's like, okay. And then I felt so satisfied. I had knocked a season off my list, and it was like, yeah, it doesn't even.
Oh, Barry. I'm watching Barry.
Barry, Barry, which I haven't started yet because
that's a quick one.
It's a quick one,
but
and it's good to let those stack up because.
And it's weekly too.
You can blow through those quick once there's a stack of them.
Yeah, talking about shows I watch with my wife, there's a show on Netflix called Working Moms, which I think it's like season 6 or whatever, but they're 22-minute episodes, so we killed that whole new season in like 3 days.
But I'll answer your question, Todd, since we have any. So here's the stuff that's out or coming out in the next couple of days that I have not watched anything of. The Boys, Upload, which is old. I haven't gotten to that yet. Orville, For All Mankind, Stranger Things, and Ms. Marvel comes out this week.
Oh, that's right.
Which I don't know if we care about or not.
I want to give it a try.
Of those, For All Mankind is at the top of the list.
Evil comes out.
Then I would say Orville. I felt like I was going to hold The Boys, but now you guys are saying we have to watch it. But
at least watch the first episode, because there's something that happens in the first episode that's just freaking crazy.
And Mark is like, let's watch The Boys together. I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable watching that show with you. It's so graphic and so, the C word is every other word. I'm sorry, I know you're 20
I wasn't comfortable
old,
watching the first episode with my wife based on what happened.
Okay, I'm definitely not watching it with him. I'll let him watch it himself. But
we got through it.
So, For All Mankind for sure. I guess Orville and The Boys. In that order. Stranger Things, I will watch. I don't really care. I don't feel like I even have a clue of where they are in the scheme.
There's a really good recap at the beginning of the first episode of the season, and I will say this: it's darker and much more violent than previous seasons. So
I'm not saying it's not good, but it's just not something that I'm like. It's been such a long time. I'm like, I don't care if it wait a while for it, but whatever.
Yeah, and they dropped 7 episodes, and then the rest of it, I think, which is just two mini movies to finish it, comes out on July 1st. So you have a little bit, if you wanted to, catch up, you have
dropping
time.
split seasons is an interesting alternative to dropping the whole thing. It's basic. Well, not even dropping. They did the same thing with Better Call Saul. They had like a little break in between the.
Right.
And don't tell me what happens in the last episode of that because I'm avoiding spoilers. But, yeah.
Are you not caught up on Better Call Saul?
No. It's.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not going to say a word.
I'm very close.
So
I think I one more episode.
9. So for me, there's 9 things that are either currently on weekly or like Stranger Things is dropped and I haven't watched it yet. So there's 9 things. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And The Flash I haven't caught up with. And thank God it's got renewed.
Well, you're not going to. But here's the other thing. There's 9 things, and they're all really good. So it's not like there's stuff that you're like trudging your way through here that you're just doing just to finish.
Trying to think what else.
Beyond that now.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to get to August, and there's not going to be a damn thing to watch.
No. Sandman is on in August. And that was actually one of my things that there's a Sandman trailer came out today. That looks amazing.
I'll have to look for that. I haven't seen it yet.
Is it? what's his name from Wings in it?
No, it's not that Sandman.
It's not good. I some of the casting I still don't necessarily agree with, but it looks awesome. And this is I'm psyched for this.
I can't for the life of me think what else I watch. I mean, I watch YouTube. There's like 5 or 6 people that I watch all their videos, so that eats up time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, and I mentioned it, I don't know, a few months back, that I've just really started paying more attention to YouTube and watching channels consistently, and that does take up a lot of TV viewing. It does.
That's the first thing I go to because you think it's quick, but then it's like sometimes there's like, there are like maker people that I watch, Jimmy DeResta, and I like to make stuff, and Laura Kampf, and
but it also kicks you down a rabbit hole, because like when a video ends and then they recommend other things, and then you start watching other things, and it branches off to something else, and you can go very deep very quick.
Yeah.
I usually watch YouTube when I'm trying to learn something. So I will like last week, I think there's one lock picking video I watched like 11 times while trying to pick the lock that he was teaching how to pick. And I just kept watching.
For entertainment purposes
kept
only.
Doing it over and over and over and over again. And then ended up watching 5 of his other videos for things that I didn't have. So it's...
Well, and it's only in the last year that I've really discovered long form YouTube content. I mean, I know it's been out there forever, but like, there's some shows that I'll watch that are an hour long, and it's a lot of content.
I don't watch anything. No one's. Well, Adam Savage has some hour long things, and I'm at the point where he's putting out so much content. I don't watch everything. Even I can't watch 47 minutes on sanding. I'm sorry.
No, but there's like a Gibson guitar,
and I love most of his stuff though.
There's like a Gibson guitar show that they only put out once every month or so, but it's usually it's their guy going to meet with a famous guitar player, and they go through the guy's guitar collection like one guitar case at a time, and open it up and talk about where he got it, and that could be an hour and 20 minutes long, but it's great content. So I watch the whole thing.
I watch a lot. I watch most are between 10 minutes and like 25 minutes of what I watch. But anyway, okay, are we done with all that TV shows? Lots to watch.
I think we're good.
Over the next few weeks, we'll have a lot of great TV to talk about on the podcast. So if you're listening, catch up on everything we just talked about.
That's right. All of them, because there will be spoilers.
Yeah, as if we don't talk about enough TV. All right, let's go. What's in the box?
Show you with the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay, so to add to my collection of very heavy books, I have volume 2 of the Moon Knight Omnibus, okay, which gets you through the original Moon Knight series and a few of the miniseries. If that's not heavy enough, this is something I pre-ordered forever ago. This is the another Moon Knight Omnibus, and this is from the early 2000s, and this is actually the one. It's the Houston Benson Hurwitz storyline. This is the one that I really recommend to somebody if you want to read some awesome Moon Knight. This is him at his best. He's coming off the rough period in the 90s, and it's brutal. The action is incredible. It kind of begins to lean into the mental disorder area, but not heavily like they do later. But this is really the core Moon Knight. This is the best stuff there is.
Does it have a talking hippo?
What's that? There's no talking hippos, but it's...
How many issues are in that?
Maybe 50 or so.
Yeah, people can't see what he's holding up. You can kill somebody with that. You can look it up
right now. And I would say, too, don't pay retail for this thing. These books are like $125 on Amazon. In-stock trades has it for 30-ish, 35-ish% off. Organically priced books.
$35.
Organically priced books, it's probably around the same thing. So it's like you should pay about $70 for one of these things, and it's well worth it. The stories are amazing, and they do a fantastic job with these things. But this is I would say this is probably my favorite Moon Knight run. And the art's great, and like I said, it's very brutal. It's not for the he's in his kind of Punisher phase, but it's it's put it this way: this is the era that he has to atone for later. So it's good. It's very good. Dave, what do you got?
Okay, I have something, and we're all famous for making each other buy stuff. I can't show you. I'm putting pictures in the Dropbox. Not in Dropbox, in the text. So I bought the tool cabinet inspired by the tool cabinet you have in your office.
Oh, cool.
So what I've been needing to do is I have my workshop, but I have my 3D printers and my airbrush in my workshop and my laser cutter, and it gets dust over it all the time. It's really just they had to not be in that machine. So this toolbox. So what I got was the Husky from Home Depot. The Husky, I got the size up from the one you had. It's the
I have one of these in a work area as well. This is a great unit.
By 24.
Yeah, this is a really good unit.
And so the whole idea, I thought originally I would have my two 3D printers on there, the filament and the resin. Then I realized I need my airbrush, because the airbrush I cover with a bag to stop getting sawdust in it. So now, if you see through the picture, so the bottom drawer I can fit the airbrush in. So when I need to airbrush, I take it out and I roll down that paper, and I have a little thing to hang the stuff on. And again, we'll put pictures up somewhere. But and then I can move the 3D printer off and on it. So
that's great. Yeah,
nice.
These drawers are humongous.
They're humongous. It's great though. I have this. We have exactly one of these in our work area, and so that long top drawer. They tell you what I use the top drawer for. Okay, I keep nothing in the top drawer, and the top drawer I use for clearing the top of the workbench. So whatever I'm working on that I've got to get off there so I can do something else, I just pull the drawer out because it's equal to the size of the workbench, and I set the stuff in there, and then I can work on something else, and then nothing gets scattered or moved around. So nothing lives in that drawer except stuff that I've just got to.
That's because that drawer is probably 44 by 22.
Yeah.
It's
just
massive.
the same top, but it works out great because, like I said, I'll have a computer that's taken apart or something like that I've got to otherwise move to another flat space. I just set it in there, work on something else. So
yeah, and you see the bottom drawer. Then those are 9-inch drawers. The filament rolls fit in there standing up, and even like the large. These are big, 1,000-gram or whatever thing. The resin bottles. So yeah, I just sort of yesterday put all these little. I 3D printed these things to hold the sort of the thing to hang the stuff on wires to dry when I'm airbrushing.
And the power strip on the side is great. It's just a nice unit.
And does that come assembled, Dave, or did you have to do assembly on that too?
You just have to put the wheels on and the handle. It's a bitch. Yeah. It's 250 pounds.
Yeah. I don't usually put the handles on.
Yeah, I just did it because. Whatever.
Did it get shipped to your house, or did you have to put that in the back of your Jeep?
I picked it up. It was easy enough to get into my car, and then Mark and I literally put it, I think, on his old red wagon and rolled it around to the basement. I have kept that. I have moved so much stuff with that red wagon. It's a monster. But Barry, if you have a place to put it, that'd be perfect. They make a smaller one. Todd has the red smaller one.
Yep.
If you only want to airbrush on it, because I'm doing like 3 different things with it.
And the nice thing, it does roll around well when you unlock the wheels.
Yeah.
So if you did get I would suggest for you, Barry, get the smaller one, and then you keep all your paints in there, you keep everything in there, and then just tuck it out of the way when you want to.
I just don't have a place for it because I end up either working in my garage or my basement, and depending on weather and everything else. So
it's
someday I'll have a workshop.
Yeah, if you need a workbench, those are great. I mean, I know a lot of people use them, like photographers put lenses and all kinds of stuff in there. And this one comes in 7 colors or something too. Wow. I got the black because I have the Craftsman black, tool cabinet, and the drawers are really nice. I've had this Craftsman for more than 15 years, and these are like the top of the line Craftsman 15 years ago when they made them well. These drawers are almost as good. which is nice to see in something that's made nowadays. So anyway, thank you, Todd. Barry, what do you got?
Well, mine's not quite a toolbox, but this is a vinyl album by a band called Envy of None that is signed by all 4 members of the band. This is Alex Lifeson's current band now that he's not in Rush.
I didn't know he had a band.
Well, it's kind of a project. I'll call it a project instead of a band, but it's something that he worked on with a couple other people during COVID. I bought this signed white vinyl edition. They made 100 of them, and the money went to charity, so I felt good about it. But I don't listen to this one because I don't even have a turntable anymore, but I've listened to it quite a bit on Spotify. But I have a collector's version on white vinyl now signed by the whole band. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So
nice.
that's what's in the box.
Very cool.
And it's interesting music. It's not like hard rock or prog rock like Rush. It's more like, I don't know if you remember the band Garbage from the 90s. Yeah. It's got a female singer. Some of it's very trippy and some of it's a little darker, but fun listen. I know our friend Sean has listened to it and liked it. So, anyway.
Is it any way connected to 10-year-old Leia?
It is not, no.
Okay. Sean, we tease.
The 3 of us and Sean will get that joke.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, alrighty. Next week, I don't know, lots of TV. Prop Store auctions coming up.
Yeah.
Lots
that
of
Prop
crazy
Store
stuff.
catalog is a beast. We will have to go through at least highlights of that at some point.
Yeah. Get the PDF. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you can download the PDF. We say this all the time. Just to look at the pictures of stuff, even if you never are going to buy any of it, the pictures are amazing. So
prices are through the roof.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting auction to see if the bottom is starting to fall out or if people are really like they've been. I know on the Props podcast they've been speculating about with crypto being down and everything else. Are some of these people that would have been big bidders, are they going to really come out to bid strong?
There's also people that spend big money traveling that didn't for 2 years, and so
you don't have to. I feel bad enough about that trip. You don't have to really.
Yeah, but I'm saying that money is not in the market anymore either.
Yeah, and I do feel nothing against Prop Store. They're awesome. We buy stuff from them all the time. But I do feel like those prices in that catalog could really, it's not like, oh my God, something's listed at $20,000 and it sells for $100,000. They're already at $70,000 as the estimate. So I feel like we're at the point where the estimates are where we think things will sell at, and maybe they won't. I don't know.
But we've been following these things a long time. I've never seen a 4-day auction before. Like there's the number of lots in this auction are just astronomical.
Part of me also feels like if you get to the end, there's stuff like, freaking Lawrence Kasdan had this piece of paper in his thing. It has a scratch on it. Here you go, $400. There's a lot of people the camera notes from The Empire Strikes Back, which are carbon copies of something, they're going to go for $3,000. Like, really? Anything that has anything to do with something cool is in these auctions these days, but we'll see.
And then there's an X-Wing model, so we'll see. 2 ends of the spectrum.
I think they're doing a deep dive on that this week.
I'll listen.
I mean, you listen to the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of podcast. We'll give him a plug. Listen to it. It's great. But that dude is out there. His next door neighbor is Charlize Theron, so he's got to have freaking money, which we know. And
I
know I was watching Seinfeld yesterday, and a number of episodes, he came up as supervising producer. So
he's got Seinfeld money, he's got Larry David money, he's got Veep money, he's got whatever. He's done well for himself. So
if you're gonna drop $1 million on the prop, the whole world's gonna know it because you've been talking about it. So good for you.
Yeah, well, we're all going to know. If he gets it, we're all going to know what he paid for it.
Exactly. So. All right, that's enough of us. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.